Hey everyone, I'm really excited to show you a free, easy way to automatically import your Facebook data over to a Google Sheet. Again, it's 100% free and doesn't require any 14-day trials on any connectors like Supermetrics or anything. Hopefully it is useful for you guys. If you do know how to, if you are a developer, you can certainly modify it to meet your solution needs. But for here, this is a really fast, easy, free way to go ahead and do it. If you guys like the video, make sure to go ahead and like it. Otherwise, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. It's also worthwhile mentioning that as we go over to the site, that I will also be dropping a description of how to do everything in the description below. So you're going to also have instructions and links and references and everything like that in order to do everything that you need to do. And if you're interested a little bit more about what Cloudacious Media does, head to the link above and we can certainly fulfill any of your media related needs. So as we're here, the first thing that we need to do is go ahead and go over to developers.facebook.com/apps. Now you'll see here I already have one app and it's blurred out just to protect consumers' privacy and data protection, all that stuff. What we're going to go ahead and do is create our own app while we're in here. Again, you don't have to be much of a developer to know what to do here. As if you just follow along the steps that I'm providing, it should be fairly straightforward and simple. So we've created an app. We want to go over to other, click next, just show business related settings. Or just business related app type stuff. Next, we're going to want to call it something. Let's call it a test app. Just call it test. And then next, we're going to want to specify which specific account that we're wanting to create an app for. Next, we actually click the button, and what it's going to go ahead and do is create an app and produce a list of different products that we can look through to connect to our app. Now, the one that we're most interested in here is this marketing API. And now, really, there's not a lot we need to do inside of it, but if you follow along, you'll see it's only one or two simple steps, and then we have everything we need for it. So we've clicked on the setup. Now it's prompted us to this section inside of the marketing API. We're going to go over to the tools. From the tools, it's going to show us different token permissions that we can give to Facebook in order to pull data. Now, none of this is really important, but what is important is that you select all three options, get a token, and it's going to be a unique token that you're going to need to copy and store for the next step. So the next thing that we're going to go ahead and do after we have all of this is go over to our Facebook sheet. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do is create a copy of the one that's provided in the link below. The one provided also includes attached scripts that you're going to need in order to make this process a bit more automatic for you. Now, after we copy everything, it's going to take a second to load. We are going to need to update the script really quickly. Now, it's worthwhile mentioning as well is that if you don't know how to update more advanced functions in the sheet, then I do not delete or rename the tabs. The tabs names are predicated on what is in the script. Now we go over to the app script section. Just to show you guys, I went to extensions, then app script, and it opened up what was already here. What we're going to need to do is go over to this data by day section. And what we want to go ahead and do is, I've already laid out and mapped out most of this information for you guys. What you'll want to do is add in the access token that you generated from the previous step in the marketing API section. So you'll go ahead and copy it below. Now, it's also worthwhile mentioning as well that you do need to know your account number. So every account has a unique ID attached to it, and we're going to need to insert it in the script so Facebook knows which specific account we're talking about. So after the ACT underscore, we're going to go ahead and plop it in. Perfect. Now this is done and it's going to go ahead and save. Now let's make sure that this data properly moves into the sheet. So the data should be moving into the test Facebook tab. Now let's go ahead and see if it works. So we just ran it. It's going to require us to review permissions and make sure everything's accepted. It may say things are unsafe, but I promise you it is. We'll go ahead and hide the advanced options and go to the import. We're going to allow it. And what we're going to see, so the execution was just started and it just got completed. What happened is all of this data just automatically got imported inside of Facebook or inside of Google Sheets. So let's delete it one more time just to make sure that it all works and we're not running into any errors. So let's run it, but let's also watch it as it, there we go. Just went in, no problem. So great, so now we've automatically exported yesterday's data inside of the sheet. Now the reason why we want to do yesterday is because it's the day that's the most, today's data isn't fully complete, and so we don't want any data that's only cut off to a certain point. So we want to do yesterday's data because it's already all aggregated together. Now what we want to do here in order to make this a bit more automatic is we want to go back over to our scripts and we want to create some triggers. And the triggers that we want to create are going to come one after another. So we know how to get this data inside of a Google Sheet. Well, how do we keep it inside of a Google Sheet? Because as you guys know, the marketing API updates. So it's only going to show yesterday's data. So tomorrow it's going to show today. Well, what about yesterday's data? We need to be able to capture all of that and store it. And that's why we have a second tab. So what we're going to do is add a first trigger. This trigger is going to be for the import data from JSON header. You're going to do it on a time-driven event. So you're going to do it by day, and you're going to pick the specific time that you want this data to automatically come inside. So I recommend about 6, 7 a.m. It's a healthy time. It's about an hour before I get on. And it'll be at the top of my inbox if there is any failures. So we're going to go ahead and save it. It may require a permission or two. You might get a little pop-up box that says that you have to approve it. Otherwise, it may save it for you. And here we are. I have a little option prompting me. Again, everything's good. We're confident that it's safe. We want to allow the data. And after a few seconds, it will save it. So after we're done saving it, we're going to create one more. And what we have here is a script that copies that data from that marketing, from the sheet that automatically pulls in the Facebook data. So this is to automatically paste it into another tab so we don't lose it as the days progress. Now, what you can do is go ahead and put this on a time-driven day timer and then put it about an hour or so after the marketing API data automatically comes in, because you want it to come in pretty soon after. We did 6 to 7 a.m. Let's do 8 to 9 p.m. or 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. I feel like that'd be fine. Notify me daily, and then bam, we should be able to save this one as well. Great, so let's also go back and test this copy to sheet data just to make sure that everything works. It's also important to mention that you want to only have rows. You don't want to have any additional rows within the data that you're copying over. Otherwise, the data is going to move to the bottom of the spreadsheet versus where it needs to be. Okay, now let's go ahead and run the script, make sure it works. Execute it, and then bam, the data just got sent over. This tab is meant for you to have if you want to put in any unique information about the data that you're seeing. In this case, because it's Facebook data, I might create like a quick if formula where it says, if that is blank, then put nothing. Otherwise, maybe, put the word Facebook. I might want to link this data to like UTM sources later. But you'll see that the data automatically comes over. And so the goal every day now is it's going to retrieve data and then paste data over. And what you can also do as well is export previous days worth of data inside of here in order to start with a longer span of history if you're trying to look at it in a reporting setting. Now, like the title mentions, that you can also look at this inside of Data Studio. So now that this data is in a Google Sheet, you can build a connector on a Google Sheet that allows you to view all of this data. And it will automatically update every day. And so as it updates, so will your reporting inside of Looker/Data Studio. So it's a pretty easy free way that allows you to go ahead and get the data in that you need. Like I said, I recommend importing all of your previous data into a spreadsheet that includes these fields. Everything from not yesterday, but the previous day prior, from the start to that day, you can export all of it in, and then now you have Facebook reporting. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. If there's anything that you don't feel like was explained well, feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to let you know or respond to you in the comments. If you did like this, thank you. Feel free to like the video. Also, please subscribe. I'll be coming out with more videos and tips and tricks and news about marketing and tech for you guys as time progresses. So if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, thanks, and you have an amazing day. Thanks.